Welcome to the Modern Renaissance Man. I'm Ben Copeland. This is a show about Renaissance people and entrepreneurs. You're glad you've joined us. This is a show that changes often. You'll see some differences in set. You'll see some differences in the people attending. And that's part of what being a Renaissance person is. Part of being a modern Renaissance person is all about. One of the things I found real interesting is when I was sending out some emails, and before the show actually even started, I got my first hate mail. Now, I haven't yet to receive good mail. But just this person sent, and it happened to be female, and all that this person said in their note was, "What about the modern Renaissance woman?" I can't be the modern Renaissance woman. I'm the modern Renaissance man. If you're a modern Renaissance woman, please email me. I'd be more than happy to have you on the show and have you as a guest, so we can work out on that. But yes, so. And if you're a person who has watched this show and you sort of like it, send me a note that you liked it. And so I hear I'm 0-1 or 1-0, whichever you want to look at it, for hate mail versus fan mail. One of the things that I always enjoy doing, particularly with my daughter and some with my wife, is a little thing we call the bump. Have you ever been driving down the street and basically you're going along and you look over there and there's this sign on your right and it says bump? Well, you know what that means, don't you, everybody, right? That means you sort of reach over and tap your partner and let them know that you're paying attention to your driving. But it's become a big joke with particularly with my little girl, because there was this road that we used to pass all the time on the way home that had this sign, and they got to where we both tried to distract each other and see who was going to get the little bump in. So obey your traffic laws. When you see a bump and you got somebody in the car with them, let them know you care. Another thing that I sort of thought about over the years is, have you ever thought about what a CEO makes when they go to the bathroom? Now think about it. The average CEO, if you actually sort of sit down and calculate probably how much money they make in the year, and you figure they go to the bathroom, say for an average of, I don't know, maybe 1 minute or something like that, they spend about $1,500 going to the bathroom. So that's probably more than 95% of the people that work for them make in the whole week. I think we need to make it an outlaw that CEOs can no longer go to the bathroom, because that's definitely a waste of dollars and a waste of money for the organization. And I'd really like to see board of directors clamp down on and basically say that is a special perk that should be reserved only for the best executives and CEOs. They can no longer go to the bathroom. It just costs too much. Here lately, I've been doing a little bit of part-time work at a used car sales place. It's been quite interesting. I've never really tried to sell used cars. A lot of the clientele there are Hispanic, and I've really been trying to work on some of my Spanish. And let me show you how it works. I get a nice Hispanic customer comes up and it's like, "Hola, how are you today? Do you understand my Spanish-o? I speako mucho. No, I speako muy. No, I speako un poco. And I have to tell you what, they're sort of hilarious. The Spanish people, the Hispanic people that I've dealt with are very understanding, very warm and friendly, and they laugh and they smile and they help me to learn some of my Spanish. But it's funny how next thing I know, I'm talking to a deaf Spanish person, when I'm trying to explain to them, mucho dinero, lots of money, yo, and they're like, idiot-o, gringo. But anyway, I'm working on my Spanish, and I really appreciate the tolerance and the patience and the understanding of most Hispanic customers that I've worked with, and I look forward to learning more Spanish and actually being more fluent in it. What I'd like to do now is to basically go into what I consider a little more serious side of the show here for a moment, and it's called the soapbox. I'm a parent of an 11-year-old and a step-parent of an almost 21-year-old. They're two of the most important things, two of the most important people in my life. Quite often I have a problem understanding men who have children who don't place that value on them. Quite often I have problems with men, particularly who are financially successful and don't spend any time with their children. I came up with the phrase, deadbeat dads with money. I understand the importance of careers. I understand the importance of material items. I don't think they understand the importance of children. I like to ask them, why do you have children? If you don't want to spend time with them, if you're going to shift them off into daycares, if you're going to shift them off into preschools, if you're going on trips to make money, why are you having children? If you're not able to be a dad, why the choice? I don't understand that. One of my greatest honors that I bestowed myself was that I took an initiative when my stepson was around 9 years old, between 8 and 9. And through listening to some people, I came up with the idea of what was called Men's Night. Tuesdays, every Tuesday, we did Men's Night. When he was little, we would go grab something to eat, find a sort of a fun activity. Now, occasionally during that time frame, I was on call 24 hours a day with a particular company I worked with. Sometimes I hauled him in with me to work. Fortunately, that was workable. Sometimes we'd have a family sickness and we couldn't go out. Sometimes it'd be birthdays we'd want to share together. Every Tuesday, I finished an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree and missed very rare Tuesdays. He is important to me. That was important to me. When my daughter was 4 years old and I was working on my master's degree, she said, at work my daddy eats and studies. Basically, that was an indicator of what she saw me doing at home. I started daddy-daughter night. So on Tuesdays at that time, I was doing men's night with my stepson. And on Thursdays, I started daddy-daughter night with my daughter. And originally, it was things like I'd stop by the drugstore, pick up a little toy or something, bring it home. She probably had already eaten, and we'd spend time together. And this was not quality time. This was time, consistent time. My daughter is now 11. So since she was 4 years old, we've been doing daddy-daughter night every Thursday. And when people ask me to do things on Thursdays, no, that's daddy-daughter night. I remember a guy called my house a few months back to speak to my wife to ask if I was there. And he said, oh, actually, I know he's not there because it's Thursday and I know where he is. He's on daddy-daughter night. You know, that was probably one of the biggest compliments that I've had from somebody that call and say, they knew where I planned to be on Thursday nights. Dads, if you ain't spending time with your kids, you got a problem. You want them to turn into Columbine kind of kids? Stay away from them. Let them grow up in a vacuum. Let them watch strange shows on TV that teach them things that are not really good for them or society. Why you have children, men who are contemplating having children, are you going to spend some time with them? If not, really think about it. There's a lot of children without homes out there that could be adopted. Maybe that's an option when you're at a place that you actually can spend some time with them. Deadbeat dads, grow up. Spend some time with your children. And that's the way I feel. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn the show over to our musical guest for this week, TRogers, who's a local musician in Charlotte. And with Trip, we'll let you have some tunes here. Thank you.
Just got into town, got no place to lay my head. Got no clothes, got no car, got no money for no motel bed. But if you let me share your pillow, girl, I'll feed you what you ain't been fed. Well, you're a clock punching honey and you eat alone every night. If you got some attention, I don't think that you'd put a big fight. So while you're looking at me, sugar, I'm gonna hold my mouth right. Well, right now I'm out of work, but that could change eventually. So gotta find an employer who values creativity. If you could spare $100, baby, I could make you proud of me. Well, your girlfriend's like me, and I think your mama likes me too. But your daddy's getting nervous, wants to know just what I plan to do. But only you and I know, girl, how good I really am for you. We were meant to be together, baby, it was written in the stars. 'Cause I'm the only man who sees what a special girl you really are. And all I need today is your visa and the keys to your car. Now I'm 3 states away and my face is on your evening news. And if you never knew me, girl, you wouldn't know what all you had to lose. Now you're a sadder, wiser woman with a case of the slick boy blues.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Trip.
Thank you.
Trip's going to join us here in just a moment. A little bit of interview time with Trip. And my other guest returning back, TRogers, is our musical guest for the week. And my other guest coming back for the 3rd time, a repeat offense, it's Mr. HBritt. Henry, come on out and join us. We'll get you mic'd up here. And Trip, come on over, please. And hopefully that's going to work. Or Nelson, the audio person here handling the show, is probably going to give me grief. Rightfully so. Did I get you wrong there? Anyway, what we're looking to do here is we're going to talk a little bit about being a Renaissance person, about being an entrepreneur. One of the things I think I mentioned earlier in the show is that this is not just a prop. This is actually, I got this at 16 years old. This is a revolving light I used in my old 63 Ford Fairlane when I was a volunteer firefighter. It's actually in service, and it saw a lot of action. It actually saw action before I got it because it looks old and used, and it was old and used when I got it. So this thing is, I won't say it's as old as me, but it might be. Yeah, it's old. One of the things I'd like to say first is introducing my guest here, TRogers. Trip is a Charlotte-based acoustic musician. Tough one to say there. He's been playing around the area for about 20 years. He's got a CD titled The Stinger. We can't go into a whole lot about advertising it, but if you have like some information, please email me at my email address at the end of the show, the Modern Renaissance Man Together.net, and we see if we can get you information on that. Trip has basically been playing colleges, public radio. One of the things that also makes Trip an entrepreneur and a Renaissance type person is for a living. Trip is into basically lawn care. Henry on the other side is basically a facilities director and facility and services director for a local private school. Additionally, last year, not only did he manage the facilities, manage the services, he was the athletic director. So some days he was installing a pipe, and some days he was using the pipe, I guess, to hit balls with. Anyway.
Cost savings, yeah.
That's right. Minimize costs there. You know, you take these old water pipes and you can use that to play stickball with, type of thing. Nobody plays stickball anymore, but Fungo, I think that used to be the last one we used to play with. Anyway, I'd like to thank the two of y'all for coming out and joining me to talk a little bit here. In previous times that we've had Henry, and then the last show we had Henry and Trip both together, we talked about leaps of faith. We also talked about recommendations to make to people about if they wanted to try their leaps of faith of trying new ventures, if they're a Renaissance person or wanting to be an entrepreneur and explore their things. One of the things I did want to ask is when you were looking at these endeavors to move to a new job, to try something different, how fast did you make your decision? And let's start with you, Tripp. How fast did it take you to say, because when you said you got out of college, was it like an instant thing, or did you mull it over for months? How did you beat this up, or how did you decide to approach the lawn care service?
I wish I had a more glamorous answer, but the fact is, I couldn't find anybody in Charlotte but me that would hire me. I had gotten a generic 4-year college degree, and middle management disappeared in the mid-'80s. We had a recession, and I was heading for some kind of middle management position, and they were all disappearing. And I couldn't find anything else I really wanted to do, and I'd enjoyed working in the lawn care industry with another company while I was in college. And so I decided to go out on my own with that. And it really was a situation where I couldn't find anything else I liked.
What about the music thing? You've been playing that a while.
That I've been in and out of for quite a while, always doing it, but just in the last 3 or 4 years I really started pursuing it heavily. A lot of it was just, we were talking about leaps of faith in the last show, and I mentioned an educated leap of faith is the best kind. And I noticed that there was the singer-songwriter acoustic music thing comes in circles, and or cycles I should say, and it has cycled back around, and I thought I would take a shot at it while there was a market for it.
Cool. And Henry, having jumped around, you've been forced, having been in a military career, to not question decisions. How is it with you though when it's all up to you to make the order type almost, barring circumstances, but what's your approach on making decisions to make significant job changes and trying different things?
I'm fairly decisive. So this last position was it was a combination of all the things that I've done, and it would just was a position that literally was created as we went. It was something that was needed, but it didn't have any rigor around it. So as we knew that there were certain things that needed to be done, and so as we saw the need to do those things, we just created the work, created the position.
Okay, so it's basically you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this, and then pretty much you start.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Some days I do that, not always.
There are
one of the things I want to ask both of you, I guess, in ways that, having a background, I've done a lot of things. Flown airplanes, altered clothes, been a firefighter, been a paramedic, delivered babies. I play one song with 2 hands on the piano. I don't even know the name of it. But trying a lot of different things. What are some things that you would like to try that you haven't done yet, whether it's in an occupation or whether it's for fun? Let's start with you, Henry. What's something that you really want to do?
It started out that all this work came about, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but what I really wanted to be was a semi-pro baseball coach.
I was good at one thing once in my life, and that was
I was pretty good at baseball and thought I'd be good at doing that, and so be an assistant principal somewhere and be a baseball coach and maybe move into the
all right, CMS. I know you need teachers. I know you need principals. And,
but that was,
look at what you get here. You get a facilities guy. He can manage your building. You can manage your teachers. Give him a big stick and he'll teach baseball. That's something I always thought that would be that and flying a Harrier. Okay. You like to fly upside down?
The planes that go upside down and fall. Those.
I'm talking about vertical lift aircraft.
Yeah, those are the 2 things.
What about you, Tripp? What are some things that?
I'd like to try being a kayak guide. I missed an opportunity to go take a course to do that for a friend of mine who had a business in an outdoor store, and he started having guided trips. Because of my other work conflict, I couldn't take the course, and I'd like to do that.
Like the heavy duty, like the Killer Rapids?
Oh, no, touring kayak. Basically
like the big rubber thing, rafts, with about 20, 30 people. Somewhere in the middle?
River guide with the Tivas.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. More like wet shuffleboard. Very low threshold of excitement here, baby. It don't take much.
So like cruising down the Nantahala, huh? Just sort of like
We have lots
before
of
they let the
hills.
water out.
Yeah, and I would try bungee jumping if they ever make a bigger bungee cord, but that's...
I thought about it as long as they put the big rubber mats underneath and kinds of things. I wouldn't want a rubber band to break, kind of thing. So I thought about that too. I remember once I took a guy up in an airplane that I was flying who'd never been on an airplane. Actually, never landed. Now here's this guy who's a skydiver. He jumps out of planes. Quite a few number of jumps. Had never landed in an airplane. It scared the bejeebies out of him, kind of a thing. I mean, he was like panicking. He's coming down, and I was like, and he's like, I really brought a parachute. I could have got out. And I'm like, well, you got out, you're going off because you ain't messing up the lift of my plane. So that was quite an interesting reaction. What's some things you never want to do? You hope, you just have maybe absolutely no interest in some activity. Maybe a lot of people do it, but it's just like.
I hate being bored.
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 I can imagine you ever being bored, hardly.
Just stay busy.
So besides bored, what's an activity? That's what I sort of actually was trying to drive here.
All day data input on a keyboard somewhere.
God,
that would do it.
That's ugly.
I guess I would do it if I had to. A lot of things that you would do. Digging ditches all day
Would be hard.
It is.
I'd like to be in that kind of shape.
It'd be nice to be in that kind of shape, be able to do it all day, but no.
What about you, Drew? What's something that you just absolutely no desire would want to ever do?
The data thing you mentioned first, any office with a cubicle, the minute I say this, I'll end up doing it, but I never want to do that. I've never, ever in my life been slightly interested in playing golf. And the older I get, we're talking about the guys hitting 40, and there are a few Charlotte natives, 40-year-old men still. I mean, I think you don't see us as much because there's so many more people, and since most of the state of New Jersey moved to Carmel Road.
It's hard to see 2 or 3, 4 people in the midst of 480,000.
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody has to work and pay taxes, and that's us.
That's right. But golf, I've never wanted to do.
Never see them out anywhere.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to work in a cube. That's just, I guess.
No, and I wouldn't, and I don't want to play golf. Never have.
Yeah.
Well, I played golf before. Well, that's what you can call it. I don't know if I would. Some people would call it that. I actually lettered in junior high school, and that was sort of a joke too, in a way. But
you don't play golf. You guide golf. You guide
okay.
golf.
So my wife says it's not an official sport because it's just sort of walk around beaning something.
Pasture pool.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the idea, I guess, in a way, if you drive race cars, you're just sort of cruising out for a Sunday afternoon ride at 200 miles an hour or so, which is just a little faster than Providence Road, but you sort of have to be up there to compete. Anyway, we're about out of time with regard to having our discussion and interviewing with you guys. I'm really glad you're here. It's been a fun time. I have the idea of having the 2 people, I think, actually is pretty nice, and have a conversation.
Well, if they get along.
Yeah.
That's true.
It'd be more entertaining if we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Which leads us to our next section. Our next section we call the Job Seekers Corner. Unfortunately, we don't have any current job seekers who want to join us for this episode of the show other than myself, who hopefully by the time you see this show, which will be airing probably around September, I will have a job and will be paying for things like gas and stuff like that need to be buying. But anyway, Job Seekers Corner is a chance for people who are transitioning between different employers, possibly laid off, displaced from their previous worker, and it gives them an opportunity to present their credentials to the audience here and what we call the elevator spiel. They have basically 30, 40 seconds to say what they can do for a company, who they are, and how to contact them. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut over to some previous footage of a couple of job seekers and show them in, and then we'll be returning for the show. And with that, on to the job seeker segment.
I'm Sarah Hornby Anderson. I'm basically a well-networked, highly effective, trilingual business development and technical marketing professional with extensive international experience for providing innovative business solutions for processing and manufacturing industries. I've worked for large multinational organizations as well as small organizations, including a small technology startup company. I have a PhD in industrial metallurgy with MBA studies, but because it was industrially based, I feel I have a good business acumen. I have experience in strategic and marketing planning, budget and cost management, technology, innovation, contract preparation and negotiations, product and process development, marketing and process optimization. I have a proven ability for increasing sales, for improving sales, market share, and profitability for the organizations for which I have worked. I'm known for my team-oriented style of management, leadership, mentoring, a high degree of self-motivation, and also multi-level communication skills. I've also been known to be speaking internationally, publish internationally, and have held courses on a technical nature, seminars internationally and have dealt with those from inception through to delivery. What I'm looking for is a management position with a small to medium-sized company where I can use my skills of interaction with customers, implement and optimize processes, direct commercial operations, and develop strategic and business plans, but also the capabilities and the productivity of internal and external resources to achieve the strategic goals that the company desires. If you would like to contact me and discuss further how I could assist your company, I can be contacted by email at f-for-Freddy-E-for-Edward-Lady@hotmail.com. I'd like to thank Ben for the opportunity for myself and other transitional people for giving us the opportunity to present ourselves to the industry in Charlotte and surrounding.
Welcome back to the Modern Renaissance Man. This has been the final show for the quarter at Access 21. I'd like to thank you for joining us each and every Friday. Well, not each and every Friday. The first and third Fridays, 8:30 p.m. on Channel 21. I'd like to thank the cast and crew for helping me with this quarter, particularly helping me tonight, the camera people. Dano, you're the man, the director. I'd like to thank Nelson May. Check out Nelson at night. I'd like to thank my wife, Jennifer, for handling the green room. I'd like to thank my best girl, Kate, who we do Daddy Daughter Night every Thursday. It's been a wonderful quarter. I've had a blast learning. Stay tuned for the next quarter of the show, The Modern Renaissance Man. My name is Ben Copeland, and have a good evening.